Something shifted on Saturday at this World Cup. Something that nobody expected. A team that has been ordered out of the United States after every single match. A team that has been flying a 27-minute flight back across a border into Mexico while their opponents sleep in five-star hotels, filed a complaint. They pushed back. They named what was happening to them, publicly and on the official record with FIFA. And the White House responded. Not with a refusal, not with silence, not with the same hard line that has defined every Iran-related decision at this tournament. With 3 words that, in the context of everything that has happened over the past 2 weeks, carry more weight than they might appear. The situation is dynamic. What those words mean, what changed, and what it says about the quiet power of one football federation refusing to accept being treated differently. That is what this video is about. To understand what happened on Saturday and why it matters, the backstory needs to be clear. Because Iran's situation at this World Cup has been unlike anything any team has experienced in this tournament's history. Iran has expressed frustration over restrictions that allow the team to travel to match venues only within 24 hours of kickoff and require them to depart immediately after games. One day before, leave the same night. Every match. A 27-minute flight between Los Angeles and Tijuana, crossed twice per game, there and back, while the squad tries to prepare for one of the most physically and mentally demanding competitions in sport. Iran shifted their World Cup base camp from Tucson, Arizona, to Tijuana, Mexico, amid uncertainty over travel and entry arrangements into the United States. Not their first choice, not their plan. A compromise forced on them by a government that decided, even at a sporting tournament officially co-hosted by the United States, the rules that apply to everyone else do not apply to Iran. The team has been missing over a dozen support staff, coaches, analysts, administrative officials, denied U.S. visas entirely. Their head coach has been doing jobs that in a normally staffed setup would be spread across multiple people. The president of their football federation cannot enter the country. Because of such restrictions, Iran's head coach Amir Galanoui recently described Iran as the most oppressed team in the whole World Cup. And then, on Friday, the day before their Belgium match, Iran's Football Federation filed a formal complaint with FIFA. Not a press statement, not a social media post. A formal, documented complaint, lodged with the governing body of the tournament, detailing the specific request that had been denied. Iran's Football Federation lodged a complaint with FIFA after the U.S. authorities denied the national team's request to travel to Los Angeles 2 days before their FIFA World Cup 2026 Group G match against Belgium. 2 days. Denied. Even with a noon kickoff that made preparation timing critical. And then the White House spoke. Not through a press release. Not through a policy statement. Through Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House FIFA Task Force, who sat down with Reuters and said something that, given the position the U.S. government had maintained up to that point, was genuinely surprising. Here is exactly what he said. United States officials will continue to assess travel arrangements for Iran's national football team during the FIFA World Cup 2026, though the current plan requiring the side to return to its training base in Tijuana, Mexico, after matches remains unchanged for now. White House Task Force Executive Director Andrew Giuliani told Reuters. Unchanged for now. Those 3 words are doing a lot of work. Because for now is not the language of a government that has made a permanent, non-negotiable decision. It is the language of a government leaving a door open. The situation is dynamic, Giuliani said. We have a plan right now. Tomorrow afternoon, after the match against Belgium, they will take the 27-minute flight back to Tijuana. That part confirms nothing has changed for the Belgium game. Iran play, Iran leave. Same as before. But then, we will see how it goes for match 2, and then there will be discussions the day after in terms of what it looks like for match 3 in Seattle, he said. Discussions. After Belgium. About what the Egypt match in Seattle looks like. That is a meaningful departure from the previous posture, which was essentially, here are the rules, they apply to every Iran match. End of conversation. Now the U.S. is saying, we will evaluate after Belgium. We will have discussions. We will see. For a team that has been fighting just to be allowed a basic preparation window, that is movement. It is not a victory, but it is movement. Giuliani did not frame Saturday's statement as a concession. He was careful to present the existing arrangements as reasonable, even beneficial for Iran. The shift from Tucson to Tijuana, I think, was good for everybody involved. Certainly, it reduces their travel time to Los Angeles, too, he said. Their flight is an hour shorter than it would be from Tucson. And we're happy with the way that things went for Match 1 in Los Angeles. The reframing is deliberate. The Tucson to Tijuana move, which Iran was pressured into by the uncertainty of their U.S. entry status, is being presented as a logistical improvement rather than an imposed restriction. A shorter flight to Los Angeles. More convenient, really. Iran's own experience of that move. Losing a purpose-built training facility in Arizona, rebuilding in a Mexican border city with a week's notice, is not how the White House characterizes it. But that is the official line. On the staff who have been denied visas, the 15 or so officials who cannot enter the country, Giuliani offered a more direct explanation. I would just point to the fact that all players have received visas. All the coaches have received visas. There are some team officials that have not received visas, and that's because we've seen some derogatory information on them. And this is the balance that we talk about, he said. Derogatory information. No specifics. No names. No evidence made public. The same framework that was used to justify the Somali referee being turned away at Miami airport. A security concern, cited without elaboration, treated as sufficient justification for exclusion. Whether that justification is legitimate or a catch-all phrase that covers a multitude of political decisions is something that cannot be verified from the outside. But the pattern, security concerns cited for Iranian officials at a football tournament, is consistent and worth noting. We want to make sure we have this incredible soccer tournament, where people are welcome and enjoy the World Cup, while also making sure that we are not just protecting American citizens, but we're also protecting all those international visitors that are coming here, Giuliani added. And on the question of specific threats, what I can tell you is our intelligence community has tripled down on this since the beginning of this year. We're in discussions every hour on it. But there have been no credible threats at this moment, he said. No credible threats. The security apparatus is active, but nothing specific, which raises a question that nobody in this conversation is asking directly. If there are no credible threats, what exactly is the basis for treating Iran differently from every other team at this tournament? Here is what makes the timing of all of this particularly sharp. Because this is not just a political story. It is a football story. And the football stakes for Iran right now are as high as they have ever been at this World Cup. Iran opened their Group G campaign with a 2-2 draw against New Zealand at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. They face Belgium on Sunday before taking on Egypt in Seattle in their final group stage fixture. All four teams in Group G, Iran, New Zealand, Belgium, and Egypt, are level on 1 point after the opening round of matches, with New Zealand leading the standings on goal difference. For teams. For points shared. Every match matters. The difference between qualifying for the round of 16 and going home could come down to a single goal, a single result, a single moment of quality or fitness. And that is exactly where the travel restrictions become more than a political argument. They become a sporting one. A team arriving in Los Angeles on Saturday night for a Sunday noon kickoff has had less recovery time, less preparation, less environmental acclimatization than every other team in this tournament. That is not a complaint. That is a measurable disadvantage. Iran drew 2-2 in their opener despite everything stacked against them. Against New Zealand, a team that was fully settled, fully prepared, and playing without the burden of diplomatic restrictions. Iran matched them for 90 minutes. Against Belgium, a squad with genuine European quality, players from the biggest clubs on the continent, a team that has historically been one of the strongest in the world, the margin for error narrows significantly. The formal FIFA complaint is on the record. The White House has indicated that the Egypt match arrangements are still to be determined. Giuliani's language, dynamic, discussions, we will see, suggests that Iran's persistence is having some effect. Not enough to change the Belgium situation. Possibly enough to change Seattle. What Iran needs, what any team in their situation would need, is the same preparation window that 47 other squads at this tournament take for granted. Not special treatment. Just the same treatment. 2 days before a match. A night of sleep in the city where the game is played. That is what a complaint to FIFA and a government that says the situation is dynamic might eventually produce. Or it might produce nothing. and Iran will board that 27-minute flight back to Tijuana on Sunday evening, same as before. Iran versus Belgium. Sunday, Los Angeles. A match where the restrictions are unchanged. The preparation window is the same as match 1, and a team that the White House says faces no credible threats will pack their bags the moment the final whistle goes. After that, discussions, reviews, a situation described as dynamic. Whether that produces anything different for Seattle is the question this tournament cannot yet answer. Iran is still fighting, on the pitch and off it, and for the first time since this World Cup began, the other side of that fight has acknowledged that something might need to change. Stay subscribed for complete coverage as the 2026 World Cup continues.